Once you've completed your essay planner outline on that first page, you're going to move down to the second page where it talks about an introduction. The first thing you'll probably want to do is just take your claim here and copy and paste it, and you're going to put it at the very bottom of your introduction. So your intro paragraph page, you're going to put it right down here. All right, that is where your claim will go. Your claim will be the last thing in your introduction, the last sentence. The other part of an introduction, you need first a hook. Your hook, it's also called a lead, gets your reader's attention. It hooks them. It should be something that says, hey, keep on listening. I have something interesting to say. I will show you in just a minute some examples. The second thing is kind of relevance. You should have one or two sentences, and it should include information as to why your topic is relevant or important. Basically, why should readers care? This oftentimes is a continuation of what you're talking about in the hook. The hook gets their attention, and then the relevance tells you why what you said in the hook is important. Third is context. This shows how the prompt relates to the piece of literature you are reading. The title and author of the piece needs to be included here as well. So, in further essays, like for instance when we read The Crucible, you will write in this section, according to Arthur Miller in The Crucible. For this essay, we have been reading so many different pieces that you can be more general. So, for instance, I say, the articles we've read in class go beyond the current obsession with comparing ourselves to other nations and have prompted me to ask, why am I teaching in the first place? So I reference the articles we have read in class. All right, so you have four parts of your intro: the hook, the relevance, the context, and finally your claim or your thesis. All right, let me show you some examples here of how to hook your audience. Here are a few different examples. One, you could use an anecdote. Two, you could use a statistic. Three, you could use a quote. You could reference the news. And finally, you could reference a work of art or a story or something of that nature. So, anecdote is a brief story. So I say, I still remember the first day of school. The pictures, the backpack, and supplies set out, my eagerness and the excitement at this new experience, running home to tell my parents of my discoveries. Two words that best describe my early educational experience are wonder and excitement. So I tell a long story about, or a short story I should say, short story about school. Let me go here. Then what I do is I talk about why this is relevant. Somewhere along the line, wonder and excitement diminished, and classmates feel the same. Is this our fault, or could school be doing more? So I'm no longer talking just about me, I'm talking about my classmates. Probably not good if all of my classmates are bored. Then I go and give the context, so I talk about where I'm getting my information. From the reading and discussing our class is done, then I put in a claim. I decide that I'm at school to discover the world, and schools can do more to aid in that discovery. Your next example would be statistics. 6.8 hours. According to the National Center for Education Statistics, that is the average number of hours that students do homework outside of school each week. Then I make sure and put in my citation. It comes from an article by Ryan. So, I start with the statistic. That's my hook. Then, why is this relevant? Is this homework helping us, or is this homework adding stress to our already stressful lives? Based on our class discussions, so I give the context, and I put my claim. I believe schools should be unlocking our potential, not drowning us in busy work. That would be an introduction. Next, you could use a quote. In the midst of the turmoil of the civil rights in Vietnam era, Minnesota statesman Hubert Humphrey said, "Freedom is hammered out on the anvil of discussion, debate, and dissent." So, I started with a quote. Notice I didn't just start with the quote and it was separate from the introduction. I introduced who said the quote. All right. Then I say, in order to be free, we need the skills that ensure freedom, which are discussion, debate, and dissent. School is the place to learn these skills. That's why it's relevant. That's why you should care what I'm talking about. And then here I gave the context, and in this essay, I would probably only talk about these 3 articles, and so I mentioned them by name. After listening to President Obama's speech, Scotty Sewell's blog post, and reading Harrison Bergeron, I know that I am at school to promote freedom. And in green there, you have the claim. News. You could talk about what's in the news. An Ebola outbreak in East Africa, terrorists conquering territory in Iraq and Syria, a dysfunctional Congress in Washington. Sometimes it feels like the world is coming apart at the seams. All right? That tries to hook people in. Then why should we care? We face tremendous problems in our world. Through our readings, so here is the context, I've decided that I'm at school so I can develop the skills to face these challenges. Finally, you could reference a TV show, something from pop culture, a story. Here, I'll talk about Harrison Bergeron. In Harrison Bergeron, Kurt Vonnegut paints an absurd picture of a world in which everyone is equal. As individuals' talents are muted, so is the beauty of the world. Music, dance, thought, are all diminished in a world in which everyone is the same. All right, sorry, I have a couple errors there. Dance, thought are all diminished in a world in which everyone is the same. So why is that schools often treat each individual the same? And then I give the context. After studying the issue and looking at Ken Robinson's TED Talk in particular, I have realized I'm at school so that I can find and develop my passions. So these are some examples of ways that you can write your introduction.